Good morning and welcome to this public meeting of the University of Pittsburgh Board of Trustees. My name is John Verbanek and it's my pleasure to serve as chairperson of the board. This meeting has been duly advertised as a public meeting in accordance with the Sunshine Act and is therefore open to members of the public as observers. The meeting is also being streamed on the university's YouTube channel. The meeting is being recorded and will later be made available via the Board of Trustees website. A quorum is present for the transaction of business, and participation in the meeting is, however, limited to members of the board and to those individuals the board has invited in advance to take place. Before moving into our meeting, we have one housekeeping item. I'll ask that the minutes of the meeting reflect that earlier today, the board met in executive session as permitted by the Sunshine Act to consult with an attorney about active litigation. The minutes of the December 5th, 2024 public meeting of the board were circulated in advance of today's meeting and were included in our meeting materials. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. So moved.
A second?
Second.
Are there any comments or corrections? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Are there any abstentions? Thank you. The minutes are indeed approved. At this time, I'd like to ask Chancellor Gable to share her report with the board. Chancellor Gable.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. It's a pleasure to be with you today at this virtual winter meeting and to update you on the university's activities and our progress under the Plan for Pitt 2028 since we last met in December. I'll start with an update on the early part of this year has had us see changes in DC and in Harrisburg that I'm pleased to update you on, and our government relations team, in partnership with university leadership and others across campus, is actively engaged. First, Governor Shapiro gave his budget address just 2 days ago, which included suggested funding for Pitt and the other state-related universities. Also, later this month, on February 28th, I look forward to joining our state-related university colleagues in testifying before the House Appropriations Committee in Harrisburg. I'll note that the Senate is, at this time, not expected to hold a separate hearing. Concurrently, the Performance-Based Funding Council, which was established as part of a legislative bill last summer, will hold a hearing on Pitt's campus on February 19th. The council also held hearings at Penn State on January 21st and at Temple on January 29th. So while there are details still to be determined, we're very optimistic about the outcome and are really seeing a path towards a more stable and predictable appropriations process that benefits both the state and shows how our mission aligns with the state and our service to our students. It is very well represented in this process, with Kevin Washoe serving on the State Board for Higher Education and Dwayne Pinkney serving on the Performance-Based Funding Council. On the federal side, we have an internal team carefully tracking and reviewing all of the administrative policy directives and executive orders coming from our new administration, along with the guidance being issued by various federal agencies as they begin to implement these changes. This situation is very dynamic, and as we know, there are some questions about how these changes may affect our campus or higher ed in general. And of course, there's a strong desire for information about the potential impact of these changes. But we want to make sure that we're thoroughly reviewing all the changes before sharing specifics, particularly as some of these orders are working their way through various stages of review. So we'll keep all of you posted on these changes as long as all of the different stakeholders and members of our campus community as we continue this review process. I have some leadership updates to share with you. Members of the board, since our last meeting, we've welcomed some new members or existing members of our community into new roles. Jamie McGooey, our Assistant Director of Internal Audit, assumed the role of Chief Audit Executive effective January 13th. She is assuming the role that John Elliott vacated when he retired after nearly 30 years of service. Janie is a longtime member of our university community. She is a certified internal auditor and certified fraud examiner who has worked at Pitt also for more than 30 years. And we are delighted and very confident that Janie will continue and also elevate the department's record of excellence and service as an excellent partner to this board and its Audit, Risk, and Compliance Committee. In addition, after a comprehensive national search, Jerry Dickinson has been named as Dean of the University of Pittsburgh School of Law. He stepped into that role on January 15th. He's been a member of our faculty since 2017 and is a widely respected constitutional scholar. He has extensive litigation and transactional experience, and he is also a former Fulbright scholar. My sincere thanks to Mary Crossley, who served as interim dean, and to all of those on the search advisory committee and in our shared governance community who participated in this highly successful search. In other search and leadership news, David Beck has been named interim dean of the University of Pittsburgh School of Health and Rehabilitation Sciences, also known as SHRS. David has played a key role in SHRS as executive vice dean, and he is stepping in for Tony DeLitto, who was named associate provost for digital education last fall, and will be departing his role and did depart his role as SHRS dean on January 31st. The search process for the permanent SHRS dean will ramp up as this semester proceeds. Also, the University Center for International Studies, often referred to as UCIS, search advisory committee is nearly complete. Faculty and staff members have been elected, and thanks to everyone who is elected to come forward and participate. Provost McCarthy is now rounding out the committee, which will now consult broadly on the search and provide a recommendation to the UCIS leadership structure going forward. And lastly, the Center for Social and Urban Research is underway. The committee is currently reviewing applications, and interviews will follow later in the semester. We have some good news with the VHAR gift announcement. Members of the board, in December, I was pleased to join Senior Vice Chancellor for an announcement that the university is launching a center to reduce global health disparities. The center is funded through support from Vishnu Vardhan and his sister, Harsha Vardhani, who are pioneers in generative AI systems for innovative healthcare applications. This news comes on the heels of the November announcement of our partnership with AI pioneer NVIDIA, establishing the Joint Center for AI and Intelligent Systems to focus on computational opportunities across the health sciences. And this activity shows real progress on our digital futures and leading the life sciences initiatives under our Plan for Pitt 2028. I have some shout outs for you as we conclude our report. First, a shout out to Peter Whiff and Joel Greenberger, who were elected to the National Academy of Inventors. We're having another good year for National Academy memberships yet again, which is great news for our scholars who are having a tremendous impact. A shout out to James Woodward, Emeritus Professor in the Department of History and Philosophy of Science, who earned the 2024 Hempel Award from the Philosophy of Science Association in recognition of a lifetime of scholarly achievement. A shout out to Pitt's Department of History and Philosophy of Science, which in the latest rankings from the Philosophical Gourmet Report, which is the benchmark report in that field, holds the top ranking for the general philosophy of science, philosophy of physics, philosophy of biology, and philosophy of cognitive science, neuroscience, and brain sciences. A shout out to Tiffany Taylor, a postdoctoral researcher in pediatrics and immunology in the School of Medicine, who also earned her PhD from our medical school. She was named a 2024 Howard Hughes Medical Institute Hannah Gray Fellow. This prestigious award provides up to $1.5 million to support fellows during their postdoctoral phase and early years as independent academic investigators. Tiffany is one of 25 early career scientists to receive that honor this year. A shout out to 5 Pitt students who have earned the Benjamin Gilman International Scholarship, also known as Gilman Scholars, which supports undergraduate students receiving Pell Grants as they pursue study abroad. And a shout out to some of our student athletes. Sarah Shapansky of women's soccer was named a first team academic All-American. Casper Svenby of men's soccer was named first team All-American. Olivia Babcock was named National Player of the Year by the American Volleyball Coaches Association as this season's most dominant athlete. She is the first Panther in program history to earn the award. And a shout out to her head coach, Dan Fisher, who was also named Division I National Coach of the Year. And a shout out to Pitt football great Larry Fitzgerald, who was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in December. I was very honored to be there to watch him be honored in that way. And you should know that he was selected by all of the other inductees to speak on behalf of the inductees at that celebration. And a shout out and congratulations to all of our Pitt graduates, one in particular who is near and dear to me, whom we celebrated at winter commencement on December 18th. And I, last but not least, want to give a shout out to Rich Sidori, who is celebrating his birthday today. So with that, I'll close with a hail to possible, hail to Pitt, and a hail to our latest video representation that exemplifies our storytelling and that anything is possible at Pitt.
Thank you, Chancellor.
Someone a long time ago had an idea that we could change the way we do things. What if you had over 30,000 big thinkers and believers behind you and $1 billion in research to make it happen? With a will that never quits in a city connected to everything. Well, you'd probably find yourself doing something truly incredible.
That concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Chancellor Gable, and let me join you in wishing Rich a very happy birthday. Happy birthday, Rich. Are there any questions or comments for the Chancellor? Let me pan our screen here and make sure not to miss if there are. Seeing none, thank you again, Chancellor, for that very comprehensive report, both to the board and to the Pitt community at large. At this time, I'd like to ask Debbie Gelati, the chairperson of our Mission and Academic Experience Committee, to introduce an action item. Debbie?
Thank you, Chairperson Verbanek. Yesterday, the Mission and Academic Experience Committee held a public meeting and voted to recommend the John R. Muslin University Center at the University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown. We're joined today by Jen Spector, president of Pitt Johnstown, who I've asked to share background relating to this gift and how it will positively impact the campus. President Spector?
Good morning. The resolution notes the authority of the Mission and Academic Experience Committee to review and recommend to the full board approval for proposals to name university buildings when such proposals relate to a gift or other donation. Alumnus John R. Muslin and his late wife, Marcia, have been long-standing and passionate philanthropic supporters of the University of Pittsburgh and specifically of the University of Pittsburgh, Johnstown, the Johnstown campus. Thanks to a generous $2.2 million gift, the Johnstown campus has acquired a 74-acre property at 500 Schoolhouse Road, which is adjacent to campus and includes a 178,000 square foot, 4-story furnished office building with an outdoor courtyard and 500 parking spaces. This acquisition should allow the campus to strategically position itself for success in the next century. And Chancellor Gable and I recommend naming the building the John R. Muslin University Center in recognition of Mr. Muslin's steadfast and generous support. The full resolution is available to committee members in your meeting materials. Thank you.
Thank you, President Spector. Chairperson Verbanek, on behalf of the Mission and Academic Experience Committee, I move that the Board of Trustees approve the resolution to name 500 Schoolhouse Road in Johnstown as the John R. Muslin University Center, as detailed in the resolution, including in our meeting materials.
Thank you for moving approval of this item on behalf of the Mission and Academic Experience Committee, Debbie. Let me also thank PAE and Chris Davitt for her work, the Chancellor, Jem certainly for his work, and most importantly, Mr. Muslin for his generosity and support of the university. May I have a second for the motion?
Second.
Second.
Having heard it, is there any comments or questions? Trustee Barron.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I have one or two questions for President Spector in reference to the gift, or if someone else can answer it for me. The first thing, I'm super excited about the gift. This is great news for the university. Just one fundamental question. Was this gift already confirmed? Like, is the funding in hand, or do we know if it's irrevocable?
Yes, the funding is in hand, and in fact has been, it's in our custody.
Oh, great news. And then, do you know the inspiration behind the gift of why Mr. Muslin decided to give, and specifically give in Johnstown?
Indeed. I have known Mr. Muslin for over 10 years, and he is passionate about his experience here at UPJ and how it enabled him to go on to the University of Pittsburgh and become a very, very successful executive at Kodak. He loves the Johnstown community. He and his late wife, Marsha, were very passionate about Pitt. And he believes that this gift will position UPJ for success in the next century. We're coming up to our 100th anniversary. And he believes that a transformational gift such as this would enable us to tackle the challenges related to enrollment and adequate facilities to position us for greater success.
Thank you very much. I love it. Thank you.
Are there any additional questions from any term or special trustees? Let me take a look here. I see Robbie Loxbacher. Please, Robbie, the floor is yours.
Yes, question for President Spector. So I'm also excited about the gift. I just and what you've just said about his commitment and his family's commitment to the university. But I'm curious about how the building will be used and what its strategic nature is. Why is this building so special? Because it is a 50-year-old building. It looks like it's been well maintained,
Yes.
but there is a cost going forward to continue maintenance, and I assume to restructure it for however we want to use it. So could you just talk a little bit about this strategic value?
Indeed. So the building will provide great value to us in critical ways that advance student success and retention and our overall competitiveness in two ways. First, this building would enable us to develop a cohesive footprint for UPJ athletics. The current sports center location has very significant, insurmountable deferred maintenance challenges, and we should be able to work around those by developing the new building for UPJ athletics. The building also provides space to expand our academic programs. Our recent strategic plan called for programs in the engineering and healthcare areas, including biomedical engineering, environmental engineering, and a number of health and wellness programs that will support our emphasis towards workforce readiness. And the building provides ample space to do that in a way that is dramatically much less expensive than new construction.
That's great to hear. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robbie, and thank you, Jem. The chair recognizes Jack Ty.
Yes, President Spector, I know back in 2023, you presented to our Risk and Audit Committee some of your strategic vision for the campus, including additional sports fields and building to house some of your athletic programs. So one, I just applaud you because I think this fits in directly to the strategy that you laid out for us at that time. Two, I just want to make sure I understand that Mr. Muslin, this is a financial contribution, right? He had no affiliation with this property per se. The property was purchased under a negotiation by yourself or the university unrelated to Mr. Muslin, right?
That's correct. That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And before I move the resolution on the table for a vote, are there any additional questions? Seeing none, we will then call for the vote. All those in favor, please signal by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. The resolution is approved. And on behalf of the Board of Trustees, we extend our deepest gratitude to John R. Muslin for his generous support of the University of Pittsburgh and specifically our Johnstown campus. Thank you. Is there any additional business to be brought before the board today? Hearing and seeing none, we stand adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.